Hi, I'm Chef Raphael and welcome to today's video. Now, this video I'm actually going to show you how to make jollof rice from start to finish. I also have a lemon roast chicken recipe within the video, so watch till the end and you see how you make it. Also, I'm showing you how to serve it. Actually, jollof rice, I've done it previously on another video, but it's really controversial. But on this video, I'm actually trying to show you step by step on how to get it right, including the ingredients. If you can't access the red pepper or the red peppers that are actually spicy that are in West Africa, you can use bell peppers. So watch till the end, you'll see how simple it is to make it, and I hope you learn something new. Let's get cooking. This video is brought to you by Skillshare. More about that a little bit later. Here is our local rice. You can use any rice that you have available, basmati, parboiled rice, but more on the rice when we start cooking it. Just make sure it's the rice that you prefer, good quality rice. And what I have here is spice mix that I've added. Now you can use stock cubes that you prefer, but I prefer making my own spice mix, which is paprika, cumin, ginger powder, garlic powder. What I've done is I've put equal amounts of each. The garlic, I've reduced the amount, maybe I have a teaspoon, but the rest is 1 teaspoon. And all you need to do is mix it like that. Has a nice smell, so that will add it to the rice as it's cooking. So the first thing we need to do is cut the ingredients. You actually need a blender for this. Now this is crucial. When you're using a blender, what you're going to do is cut the vegetables into chunks. We want to make a paste, a puree. So the onion first, just cutting into big chunks. Tomato as well, you can do the same thing, cut it into big chunks. Try and get a ripe tomato. Now for the pepper, what you're going to do is remove the seeds. Make sure you remove the seeds. You don't need the seeds. This also applies to the chili. If you're going to add red chili to it, same thing. And then same thing, cut them into big chunks. Now depending on the size of your blender, you may prefer not putting everything all at once. If your blender is small, then you may consider reducing the amount that you're adding into the blender and maybe do it in 2 batches. Blend it in 2 batches. I'm hoping mine will be enough. So what usually happens with my experience whenever I'm making jollof rice is that this may be too much for the amount of rice that we're actually cooking. What I have here for the rice is 2 cups of rice. You can cook the whole mixture with this whole amount, especially for 2 cups of rice, or maybe add 1 more extra cup of rice. But let's blend this. So one thing I forgot to mention is that you can save a little bit of the onion that you are cutting, but like I said also, it's never too much onion. So I'm adding 1 medium-sized onion. So I'm going to fry this onion in the pot. To be honest, this is optional, but it actually makes a small difference to this the outcome of the dish. Now what we want to do is to fry this onion, and then when it starts browning and caramelizing, we'll add the tomato paste in the pot, and then we'll cook down the tomato paste until it has the right consistency, which I'll show you. And then I will add the blended puree of the vegetables. So let's fry this. So let me take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Here you actually explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. There are plenty of class topics which includes illustration, graphic design, photography, film and video, lifestyle, animation, fine art, even marketing. So right now I'm actually taking a course by Jessica Kobisi because I'm actually upping my game. I'm trying to up my game in on how to take photography, great shots, and she has a course, shoot and edit Instagram worthy shots, by Jessica Kobisi on Skillshare. So I'm actually taking that course, and it's really helpful. And what I like about this is that it's actually curated. The classes here are actually curated for learning, meaning there are no ads. They're always launching new premium classes, and you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity leads you. So the first 1,000 subscribers that click on the link on the description get a 1-month free trial on Skillshare, so that you can start exploring your creativity today. Thanks Skillshare for sponsoring. So the way to remove the core, it's a good idea if you can just to remove it, because it's going to be really hard when you are frying it together with the core. So I'm going to find a small knife that can cut center, so a sharp pointed knife, so at least I can see where the core is. So I basically going to try to. So in case you don't like pineapple, I mentioned about the apple, so I would say use the green apple, not the red one. The red one is too sweet. So basically cut it into wedges. You can cut it into something like this, or depending on the size, not too small and also not too big. Just make sure you remove the seeds, something like that. And then you use the same procedure now you're going to do when making the mixture, and then dipping them and then frying them. So cut them into wedges like that. Now the amount of oil I used was about half a cup of oil. Now you actually need a lot of oil because you're going to fry the pepper and onion mixture. Now I'm adding the tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now you want to fry it. Now reduce the amount of fire. I want to cook it until it breaks down. Again, this is adding the red color. And also the pot that I've used is enough when I'm going to cook the rice. The pot will be enough to cook also the rice. So it's a big pot or medium-sized pot. So once the tomato paste is broken down the way it is right now, you have seen small lumps of tomato paste. Add the blended puree mixture. Now you're frying this. Now this is going to take some time, and actually it's cooked when the tomato has reduced. The pepper and this mixture has reduced in quantity. Also, as it continues cooking, what will happen is that the color will be a little bit more red. It will be darker. At this point, I can actually add the spice mix that I have made, or the chicken cubes, any stock cubes that you have or you prefer. About 2 teaspoons. Also, chili flakes, about a teaspoon. Don't want it to be too much. And I'll cook this down. Oh, something else I almost forgot is salt. So about 3 teaspoons for this amount of sauce and rice. Actually 3.5, because of the rice that I'm adding is about 2 cups. So about 3.5 teaspoons of salt. Give it a good mix, and then I'll cover. Now you can start with high heat. When cooking, you can start with high heat, and then when it starts boiling and bubbling too intensely, reduce the fire so that it actually cooks slowly. The whole point for this is to cook it slowly for about anything from 10 to 15 minutes on low heat, and you will know it's cooked when the oil will start floating on top of the pepper sauce. So that's when you know it's ready. It's cooked down and it's reduced in quantity. So while this is happening, I'll show you how to make the chicken. So let's make the chicken. Now I have 1 onion. So what I'm going to do with the onion is I'm going to slice it into thin slices. You can use white onion or red onion. Try and make them as thin as possible and basically as even as possible. You can do 1 big one or 2 small ones. You also need an oven-proof pan. This is a cast iron pan. Basically a pan that you can use in the oven, mostly because of the handle is the one that usually tends to get too hot, and then maybe it can burn or melt basically. So if you do not have one of these, you can also use a pot that can get into the oven. And basically this is simple. What we want to do is have a bed of onion. Actually this onion is not enough, so I'll add 1 more, like that. And then for the lemon, cut it in half. And then you can also cut it in another half, form a quarter, and then slice it thin. I'll first cut that and see if it will be enough. So basically what we want is yes, this should be enough, half a lemon. Depends on the size. We want it mixed together with the onion like that. I don't want it to be too much of the lemon. What you're going to add to this is about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to slice them. Mix it. You're forming a bed. Now finally the chicken. Actually before the chicken, let's do the marinade. So you can either do it on a blender or a small part of the blender. So I have 1 sprig of rosemary. Remove the leaves. Then you throw away the stick. A little bit of salt, about 1.5 teaspoons. This is the seasoning for the chicken, so you want it to be enough. And another thing we are going to add is black pepper. So since I'm going to blend it, I'm removing them from the pepper mill. About 1 teaspoon of the black pepper corns. If you do not have this, you can still use black pepper powder. That's still okay. If you're not blending, you can use the powder, you use the salt, and then for the rosemary, you finely chop it. So that's another way of doing it. To do this, I'll add the garlic powder. If you have garlic powder, you can use that because you're going to blend it. Or 2 cloves of garlic. And then a little bit of oil to make the marinade or the marination come together. Now that it's a paste, it smells nice. I'll add a little bit of oil because I wanted to make it more into a liquid. And then now I'll work on the chicken. So for the chicken, you want 1 whole chicken, not too big, a medium-sized chicken. Now what I'm going to do is cut it from the back, the backbone. Using a sharp knife, just cut it along the backbone, like that. But don't cut the breast, don't cut it to the front, just the backbone is what you're cutting. And basically what you want to do is to open it up, and then at this part, just cut it slightly. There's a small bone there, and then it will open up. This is what we want. We want to open it up like that. It's called a spatchcock, or you basically butterfly it. So at this point, what you're going to do is to get our marinade. You can use a brush, but in this case I'll actually use a spoon. Let me get a spoon. And then spread it onto the chicken. Remember, the salt is there, so this is everything that you need. Salt, pepper, rosemary, and then using your fingers, rub it onto the chicken. Do the same thing on the other side. Rub as much, make sure that it's covering the chicken. The chicken looks green. You want a lot of it on the chicken because this is, remember, the salt and the flavoring. Then now we're going to place it on top of the bed of onions. Like that. Also make sure under the chicken, the wings. And then now it's ready for putting it in the oven. It's going to cook in a hot oven. Hot oven of about, of 200, the highest setting of your oven, which is 250 degrees Celsius. Or about 450 Fahrenheit. So the highest setting of your oven, just crank it up It will take about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to cook, depending on the size of the chicken. So it's now ready. Now how you know it's ready, again, I said this earlier, is that you'll actually see oil coming on top. You see it's floating on top, and the pepper mixture is nice and thick and reduced. Now this is also why I was saying you also need slightly high amount of oil, but you can reduce it. If you feel this is too much, you can scoop it out, but I think you still need it because it will make the rice nice and shiny when it's cooked. So what I've done now is rinsed the rice, add it to the mixture. Another thing, I've already tasted it. I can taste the heat from the chili that I put, not too much, and it has a nice flavor. I'm increasing the fire. Yes, so you want the rice to mix with the mixture, and then I'm going to add water. So here I had 2 cups of rice, and to this is 2 cups, so equivalent to 2 cups of water. So I'm adding 1 more cup to make it 3 cups of water. So I had 2 cups of rice, and then I've added 3 cups of water. You want it to start boiling, so you can cover it for it to get to that point. And then when it starts boiling, you reduce the heat to the lowest possible on your stove. Now I'm not using a big burner, I'm using the smaller burner. So if you're using a bigger burner, the low might not be too low enough. So I'm using the smaller burner, but not the smallest. Depends on your burner. But the idea is when it starts boiling, now it's on high, when it starts boiling, reduce so that it simmers slowly. And as it progresses, I'll show you what to do next. So it's been about 20 minutes. Now the liquid has reduced, the rice is nice and thick, it's cooked, and occasionally it was sticking to the bottom of the pot. What I've been doing is stirring it. I'm actually turning off the heat now. When it's cooked, you will see the oil coming on top of the pan, of the rice, the edges. Color is lovely. It's slightly brown from the getting stuck on the bottom of the pan, which is still a good thing, it adds flavor. And when I taste, it's always good to taste. Awesome. Wow. It's the chili, I can taste the chili flakes that I added. Now that's the perfect heat for me. But remember, whenever it's done in West Africa, and again, most people do it differently, but one major thing is that it usually has a spice, a kick from the heat from the chili. But for me, this is perfect. I don't know how yours will be, but that's the way it should be. It's oily, yes, but it's nice and shiny. And what is left now is serving it together with the chicken, or you can also serve it by itself. It's tasty by itself. You can serve it with some greens or vegetables, and you still enjoy it. But now I'll show you how to plate it together with the chicken. So it's ready. I've served it with some salad. This is rocket and tomatoes. And then for the chicken, I've already tasted it. It tastes delicious. You can place it on one side. And how it works with the onion that we had, place it either on top of the chicken like that. So as a garnish, you can place it like that. The onion has caramelized, has cooked, it's sweetened, it has the juices of the chicken. And one thing you need to note also when cooking it, it took about 45 minutes to cook, but at some point you need to turn it to this other side so that it cooks on both sides, so that both sides are actually brown. So that's one thing I did. So there you have it. I hope you'll enjoy yours like I know I will enjoy mine. Goodbye.